Hello everybody, I am Ben from Team Panic, and today I am joined by some special guests because we are talking about how cacophony my triple hammer multi-bot went at ARC's October meet. Now, of course, I am one human being, I cannot control 3 robots at a time, yet I'm working on it. Well, no, not really, but that would be fun. So these two fantastic gentlemen helped out with cacophony and drove really well, which you will see in this video. So starting on my left, we have Chris. Chris is new to ARC and has started running all of our kind of video production stuff. So all of the new videos up on ARC's YouTube channel are thanks to Chris. Do you want to say hi, Chris, and a little about yourself? I mean, I have introed you a bit, but anything you want to add?
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I joined ARC to just enjoy robots because I found Ben at a sporting group, and I was like, you know what? He does robots. I've loved robots. I want to join. I did. I found a little area that I could help improve, so signed up and was like, you know what? I want to do your digital recording. And yeah, from there we're taking it stride by stride and seeing how we go.
Cool. And you have, of course, been fighting yourself as well, and it is that easy to get involved sometimes, so that's really good. And then below me we have Cam, who those of you who have been around the channel for a while will definitely recognize Whipsnake 37 Trillion. It is a robot I have fought many times and I love to pieces. Cam is the designer-in-chief of Whipsnake and also its driver. Say hello, Cam.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
No worries. Yeah. So yes, Cam built Whipsnake and also Albacross and Alba X, the big beetle version of Albacross, which I'm not sure if it's actually been on my channel, but I hope to fight it at some point in the future. So
I'm hoping to have it at the end of the year, but it's still mostly mangled, so that might be a challenge.
It did take a lot of damage at Havoc, so, and look, you know, sometimes designs do that. Anyway, we are here to talk about how Cacophony, the triple squeaky hammer robot, did. So let's jump into it. Hello everybody, I am Ben from Team Panic. So before we jump into our fights, we had Chris on the green, well, the green chassied Cacophony, and Cam on the blue chassied Cacophony. And of course, we all sat down and put faces on our versions of Squeakamus Maximus, which, yes, each individual one is called Squeakamus Maximus. Together they are Cacophony because I like confusing name conventions, apparently. Yeah, so did you guys have any real, like, plans with your googly eyes, or were you just attempting to make something weird with it?
Well, I mean, when you pulled out the giant reel of googly eyes out of your bag, I was like, oh, here we go. Let's make something demented.
Yeah. And that you did. The doll's eyes that you put on your Squeakamus were terrifying.
I was like, what's the most realistic one here? This will do.
I think I just targeted green things for whatever reason.
Fair enough. I mean, you were driving the blue one, so it made sense to put something match all, like, yeah, not the same color involved. I mean, the whole point was to be as cacophonous as possible, visually and audio, audio cacophony. So, yeah, you guys, I think...
Really?
Yes, that would be the word. Thank you. You guys met the brief there very well. So, let's jump on into our fights then, and our first fight is up against Anti-Dozer, a 6-wheel, but really actually 2-wheel pushy robot, and this was like our ideal first matchup, because we definitely weren't going to take damage in this fight, and they have no weapons, so it's time for some squeak.
Well, he's introducing us. We're just going, you know what? Hammers, squeak.
Mm-hmm. I did like that we were just firing the hammers while waiting for the fight to start.
Well, you've got to show off your weapons of choice.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you're in for. Are you ready?
I really do like the visual of them all driving across the arena with the hammer up.
I thought they looked a bit like meerkats.
Yeah, they had that kind of like animalistic quality to them for sure. It was also interesting, we were actually overpowering him at certain points in this fight. Like, there was a couple of times where we get a couple of us pushing him, and we're actually pushing him, which is wild, because we're like, all 3 robots are running N20 drive.
If you just get
that was
just
really
under the right
surprising.
spot. Yeah, eventually he gets a little bit too pushy.
I mean, pushing is like his main thing. Well, also being a tank, really, but our weapons aren't designed to damage, so it's not like we're going to break them on him.
I haven't seen him actually get knocked out yet. It's quite impressive. Unfortunately, I get a little bit too close.
Yeah, and I was more focused on trying to push him into the pit than help you out, because otherwise we probably could have helped you out of that position.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that.
Oh, and then, so at this point, technically we're out, because multi-bot rules state half of your robot is out, and you're out, and 2 of 3 of the squeak am I, and we are out of the competition. Well, out of the fight, anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a kind of proof of concept of the design, I thought. That was a lot of fun. And as you said, Cam, like, they looked animalian, like, crossing the arena together with the hammers raised. I was thinking about the second version having the hammers, like, fully articulate backwards, but I do really like the visual of them standing up and, like, stalking prey up like that. It's there's something very funny about that to me.
Yeah, especially when all 3 go at once, you've got the arm in the air going, charge!
Yes, it's very much a charge motion. Maybe one of them has the hammer up as a charge, and the other 2 are like full back, ready for massive swings.
Yeah, you can always put a
Massive
sticker on
psychological
that one.
damage.
Yeah, just put your logo on the front of it as a flag on the hammer.
A flag bearer squeakamus. Oh,
Yes.
that's ridiculous. I kind of like
It's not something
it.
you can lose, so it's
True.
not a danger to the fight.
But so how did you guys find driving the cacophony multi-bot in this first fight? I mean, it is basically running ant weight parts in these things.
Yeah, they were pretty quick. They were good. Some little bit of ground clearance issues here and there, but I love just having the button trigger for the hammer. You could just go crazy with it and not have to worry about going too far forward or far back. So that allowed for a lot of squeaking.
Yes, so you had a different controller to Cam and I. Cam and I had like articulated hammers on a throttle, and you just had a pull trigger, which I definitely think is the right way around for these robots. They just need to go dook, and you fire the hammer.
Yeah, there will be one point during this match where Cam is pushing me around and not pushing Choppy. So I go chasing after him, squeaking the hammer. Boggy.
Hang on a second. We're supposed to be a team. What is this? I've lost control of the troops.
I was still getting used to the driving in the first match, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they do kind of drive more ant weighty than beta weighty, and yes, the beta weight arena like has that like kind of lip in the floor, and the floor is kind of cut up and stuff. So the fact that all 3 of us had ground scraping wedges on the front of the robot didn't help necessarily.
I just turned around and reversed up the hill. It worked.
Yeah, that's true. I am thinking that version 2 will have better drive motors. I mean, because we did run out of torque, like one robot pushing back against Antidozer, and you just got thrown across the arena. Like, you didn't have any real hope there, really. So.
Not really, but compared to piloting a 150-gram bot, it actually drives the same, just a bit heavier.
I definitely think with bigger drives, it'll be certainly a lot more interesting to see how well we do.
Well, I'm thinking, yeah, the next version, I'm going to shrink them all down and then put in more powerful drive. Keep the same weapon style, but just update the weapon mounting, because we'll talk about that in a minute when there's some other fights happen. We all got very good at reattaching these weapons as foreshadowing for the upcoming fights. But speaking of upcoming fights, this one is not one of those ones. This one we're up against Choppy. So our second fight again is up against a like non-weaponized opponent, which basically means we get to just go in there and squeak, which is what we're built for. Yeah, I would like to, for the new versions, have them all run on triggers. That would be really handy.
I mean, you can see how quickly you can do it. This time I was like, you know what, I'm going to push things around. Now that I know how to drive it, push.
I really do love it when all three of us are up on an opponent running the hammers.
Except I think I knocked one of your eyeballs off it.
Yes, you did. Yeah. This is our first real damage of the competition. We got friendly fire on an eyeball, on a googly eye.
Well placed shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm choosing Cam here. Pushing me around.
I totally missed the fact that you guys were fighting amongst yourselves. Also, yeah, look at that. There with... I see. I think it's because of the angle. Like, I'm lifting the wheels up, and with one of you at the back, like, he just wasn't touching the ground at all.
Yeah, you were able to get under his chopping board, lift him up, so he only got a little traction. I saw this and I was like, oh, that actually works. I was trying to line up to push him, but he unfortunately got free. I was like, you know what? Can I do the same?
But also, it does show you just how little each of Cacophony is, because the gap in underneath Choppy's chopping board is, like, perfectly sized.
Yeah, I squeezed myself in here and I was like, are you with me? Are you with me?
Yes, the suicide play to get ourselves very first win.
It worked.
It really did.
It all went perfectly to plan, actually.
So yes, our first win. We are 1-1 on the day, which, to be honest, I wasn't expecting any wins at all. So that was great. I mean, you guys again were well, it's more Chris. Chris is fighting Cam more than anything else here.
I got stuck under it and I'm like, there's a pit, there's me, there's Choppy. I'm going to get you in the pit and see what happens.
Yeah.
It worked.
Hey, I mean, look, that's it. I can't be too angry at you for all the friendly fire, because you did win us the fight, which is, yeah. With all that talk about upgrading the drivetrain, apparently all we need to do is wedge ourselves underneath people, and we don't need an upgraded drivetrain.
That's if we can get close enough to do it. Now, next few fights, they're a little spicy.
Yes, very true.
But hey, it's all fun.
It is a lot of fun. And so, because it seemed like, we could just wedge ourselves in and get a win, I decided that in my particular Squeakamus, I was going to put in 10-to-1 drives rather than the 50-to-1s that we've been using up until this point, because I was like, well, look, if I don't need drive torque, I might as well get loads of drive speed. But also, as it was an experiment, I didn't want to subject you guys to either crazy, ridiculous, or underpowered drive. I didn't know what was about to happen. So, yeah, we just put it in mind. Also, at the moment, the Squeak and I are a very, very annoying thing to undo, because there are so many very long wood screws in them. So just to get those N20s out and replace them was a lot of work. So we really only had time to do one set. Well, at least before this fight we did anyway. Speaking of this fight, we are going up against Hurt Feelings. This is a very, very nasty undercutter. So, time to see how well the Squeakamai actually hold up to a spinning weapon. Yeah, so interestingly, the 10-to-1s kind of worked. Yeah. The 10-to-1s are really bad on turning and all kind of torque, but in a straight line, they go pretty quickly. But... Yeah.
I slowly.
We're also,
I think at this
I'm not a
point
rat.
I've lost the drive, so
yeah, we are being brutalized here by hurt feelings. I mean, the robots are surviving pretty well, but at the same time, he is hitting weapon axles and drive axles. You can see, Cam, your like back left wheel is bent on the axle.
Yeah.
that one took a while to repair.
Yeah.
They held up quite well. The frame, chassis, brilliant. The weapons popped off, but
Yeah, well, let's talk about that.
didn't nose the pit and I just throw it over. Ooh.
And look, sometimes that is what happens with the pits is you take a gamble on a pit and it just drops underneath you and you just have the sad ride down as you are eliminated.
I was like, oh, nuts.
Yeah. And also, my apologies to Cam in this fight because your weapon motor popped out because I forgot to put a screw in. There is one screw kind of making sure that the servos stay into the top of their mounts in Cacophony, and otherwise it's just the friction of the kind of clamshell around the outside, and I had forgotten to put in the screw. So, yeah. When you got hit and the whole robot gets thrown, the servo's like, I'm just going to stay here. Pop!
I feel like against hurt feelings, there needed. It was going to take a bit more than just that to hold the weapon in anyway.
Yeah, mine came off on the first point he hit it, straight off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because all of these weapons are mounted directly to the servo using plastic servo horns. Now, I think we lost 2 plastic servo horns in this fight because they literally just shattered. So yes,
Go on.
yeah, that is definitely also an upgrade needed for version 2, is that, yeah, the servo horns can't be the thing holding on to the plastic squeaky hammer because, I mean, the squeaky hammers themselves survived pretty well. The bellows got a little bit mangled, but the actual arm itself didn't do too badly, I didn't think.
Yeah, the arms and the cups were fine. I mean, spent a few moments getting the bellows back on, but once it clicked in, back to normal.
Yeah, and that's the joy of TPU. But when you're mounting that with tiny little plastic servo horns, they get
They
ripped to
survive.
shred. And then
A bit
also,
stronger mounting and should be good.
yes, the back axles as well, because Cam, your robot came out with a just giant bend in the back drive axle. Yours was the worst. I think there was one bent axle on each robot, but yours was the one that you physically couldn't get the bearings back out. It was so bent.
Yeah, it was a big hit.
Yeah, so I think wheel guards and stronger axles probably better for the next version of Cacophony. But having said that, the gear drive did its job. You could still have like engagement between the N20 gear and the drive gear, even with the axle bent like that, you know. So I was pleasantly surprised with how this fight went. Like, I was always expecting that we were going to get ripped to shreds in this fight, but we survived better than I thought we might.
I mean, we drove, well, I know I drove face first, and her feelings used me as a ramp at one point, but still driving. A few minor cuts here or there, bit of a weapon, but hey.
Got thrown across the arena once or twice, but you know.
Yeah, Cam ends up with a front camera experience. Straight at the camera.
Yeah, that was a good aim there. A good attack on him to get thrown at the camera. So obviously we had a ton of damage coming out of this fight. It basically took all 3 of us working on various different parts of Cacophony to get these things back up and running again.
All 3 of us.
Yeah, especially, again, with the construction of these things being really, really long wood screws just tapped into the TPU. They take a while to get back out again. Yeah, that's a knowing smile from Cam there because we took out a lot of screws. anytime N20s needed to be changed, which I needed to change my N20s back from the 10 to 1s back to the 50 to 1s, we also needed to, I think one of Chris's drives had shattered a tooth inside the N20, so we had to swap that out as well. But other than that, the N20s themselves actually survived pretty well. I was pretty happy with that. The gear drive did what it was kind of supposed to do in protecting those. I mean, they're still not very powerful, not that we ever would have got close enough to push hurt feelings around.
No, he is incredibly fast and powerful. Just from one side of the arena before you blink.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is his, like,
There's
single...
not really many places on him that he can be pushed.
Yeah, that's very true. Anyway, you touch him, you're basically, like, millimeters away from his weapons, so...
And you think you're sneaking up on him, and he just goes, whoop, straight around. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's it. He can turn on a dime, so yeah, he will absolutely do that, and suddenly you're face first into a weapon, which, hey, look, I mean, I was kind of interested to see how all of these would perform against a weapon, so I was like, yeah, slam into a weapon, let's do it. And yeah, it didn't do too bad. Better than expected.
We survived and was still functioning afterwards. So.
I give us a C+. And then, of course, we have to move on to new fights. So we spent a lot of time and effort getting Cacophony back up and running, only for our next fight to be Iron Tooth. Those of you who have been around for a while understand what's about to happen here.
We're lucky he didn't run Iron Tooth upside down.
Yeah, he would have just cleared the cutter weapons off.
Yeah.
I think it would have gone straight for the servos.
I think so too. I think if he was upside down, he would have been perfectly servo-destroying height. Oh, look at that perfect charge that got caught on the arena floor. Oh, look at that. One hammer down already. And also your drive, I think, too, Cam.
Yeah, he was...
Yeah, I think I lose the drive pretty quick.
Yeah, he hit you on the back. And I think you can see even that you're... Oh, yeah. You've got silicon off a wheel and a bent axle.
Yeah. Cam says, I'm stuck. I think he got you.
See, I've done my usual trick of feeding the weapon into their weapon, and so I lost the front, like, bellows on my hammer. And yeah, at this point, we've lost all the hammers.
This is purely...
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cam goes...
Now that was a good hit.
That was a great hit.
And again, every time.
It really was a bit of your nemesis, eh?
I put Choppy in there, but he decided to get it back.
Yeah. The pit wasn't happy about the suicide attempt. And made you pay for it. Oh, look at that destruction. That was fun, actually. That was a fun fight. Yeah, so we definitely lost that fight. I mean, at the arena side, I definitely claimed that we were ready to go. It would be ready to go again in 5 minutes, but, yeah, no.
And not after Iron Tooth paid a visit.
This was another all-hands-on-deck affair. So thank you guys for taking time out from doing the things that you were supposed to be doing to come and repair silly robots.
So we went and we're like, okay, let's repair.
Yeah. So one of the big upgrades for next time that you guys are going to be very happy to hear about is I'm going to use heat insert nuts and like M3 bolts. So they will be much easier to take out.
Not
Yeah,
sitting out there.
Yeah, because that was, I think, a majority of the repair time was taking out all of the long wood screws to get everything back out again. Because, yeah, we had another bent drive axle. I think all the N20s were fine coming out of this fight. It was just a bent drive axle. Oh, no, bent drive axle and a cracked gear. There was one of the PLA gears on one of the N20s was broken. Because that needed to be replaced as well. From memory.
I think the shock of that last hit also severed some of the connections on the inside of mine. So I had to fix
Yes, your power, like,
Yeah, that's right. Power light and then also bullet connectors inside. Well, not bullet connectors, like Arduino Dupont connectors for the motors, which we taped up after this fight because we definitely needed to do that.
Yeah, I'm surprised on how much force can go through that bot.
I mean, Iron Tooth is the biggest hitter in the league for a reason. Like,
Send you flying across the arena and suddenly, why is 7? It's like, okay, that's a lot.
I mean, this is the good thing though about the multi-bot design is that, like, if I'd printed an entire beta weight out of TPU, they would be taking more damage than they do as 3 individuals because so much of the energy gets put into throwing them across the arena that it doesn't have time to, like, rip holes in the armor and stuff. Having said that, it definitely ripped holes in the armor.
Yes, there was a few nice cuts and gashes, but the frame stayed solid.
Yeah. I mean, we also lost a servo in this fight. A servo took a direct shot in this fight and ended up a little mangled. That's fine. I've bought a lot of spares now. All right, I think that's enough of that fight. Next up, we have another very fun fight. This is up against Master Splinter, a literal block of wood. Yes. Well, I mean, at this point in the competition, Master Splinter had also faced the other 2 weapons and was also patched back together.
Super glue and screws. Master Splinter is incredibly powerful.
Yes. And, yeah, I had trouble in this fight because apparently we didn't fix one of my drive sides. I also had a connected disconnect, and we missed that in all of our fixes that we had to do between Iron Tooth and this fight. And there you can see just how powerful of a drive Master Splinter actually has, fairly easily pushing the pair of you around.
Unfortunately.
And then the unfortunate thing for him and the joyous thing for us. Adding insult to injury. So we won that in an unexpected way. He accidentally himself into the pit, which does happen when there are pits around.
Yes, I can attest to that.
Yes, well, hey, look, at least the pit this time liked you and wasn't targeting you exclusively.
No.
But yeah, we had the issue with my drive side where I just could not drive, which was very annoying. And because we were told going into this particular fight that if we won this fight, there was going to be a playoff for 3rd place. And we didn't know if we were going to win it or not. And when I had drive issues and then we won the fight, they were like, right, we would need to do the playoff. And I was like, I need to pull the robot apart and try and fix this.
Yes.
Really, really hoping it was just a wire connector inside, because if it hadn't have been that, it was going to be so long to, like, replace motors and stuff. Again, the Cacophony are not designed to be repaired, which is, in hindsight, very silly. They should have been designed to be extremely repairable.
Well, if you tell us I'd go face first into weapons. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, that's how I drove it at NHRL too, was face first into all the weapons. So,
There's only one way to learn what happens.
very, very true. And then at the end there, you guys ganging up on him in the pits.
May as well. He almost pushed us in the pits, almost flipped me, so I'm like, you know what? Let me get some revenge.
We simply had to.
Oh, yeah. I fully agree. I loved that moment. That was so good. Especially after, yeah, he's like stacked one of you on the other and then pushed you around the arena. It was like ridiculous.
He's incredibly quick.
Yeah, for a block of wood, he's got a really good drive under there.
He has 5 or 6 wins to his name, which he's got
Quite a
laser
few.
etched on top.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They're literally etched into the top of the robot. He just goes home and etches into the wood because you can. It's wood. So, as mentioned, we are going now on through into a 3rd place playoff. And this is with multiple robots. So for the first time, we are going up against more than one opponent, which is not really what a multi-bot is built to do, especially when one of those is hurt feelings. So yes, here is our three competitors, Hurt Feelings, Choppy, and Master Splinter. We're obviously after not going into Hurt Feelings.
He's like, I'm going to come clockwise. We're like, no, go the other way.
Okay, good to know.
Don't come towards us.
And I feel like everybody made a mistake there in letting Hurt Feelings get up to speed before we engaged.
Yeah, we all stood back and he's like, I'm going to go forwards like part 4.
Yeah, it was certainly a tentative start for whatever reason.
I didn't notice that you actually went under Choppy then.
Yeah, Choppy got thrown on top of me.
I did not notice at all because I was trying to figure out why I couldn't go forward.
Yeah, so we had to do an unstick here where Choppy had to be removed from on top of me because I was literally right in between the uprights. Yeah, there we
I
go.
didn't see how that happened, but now I know.
Everybody giving some test squeaks there to make sure we're all working.
Gotta let them know who they're dealing with.
Alright, resuming in 3, 2, 1, fight.
It was very funny that a lot of us just did not go for Hurt Feelings a lot. Like, when the fight was recalled, Choppy's immediately after us and not after Hurt Feelings.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, as you can see, Master Splinter is splintered.
Yeah. And then Hurt Feelings has broken Choppy, but also, Cam, you're stopped over in the corner there.
Yeah, I encountered Hurt Feelings and lost everything.
No, unfortunately, I only have one wheel.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, especially right now. So I'm driving on, one side has got some silicon left, the other side has none, but it's also got a cracked gear on the drive, so it's only driving half the rotation of the N20. It's like the worst possible drive state for one of these robots to have.
Indeed. I'm slowly making my way there. Once I figured out how I actually drive straight using the weight.
Yeah, you can see that little blue piece that's wiggling around there. That is supposed to be a full drive gear, and it's like half of one. I feel like we're both actually driving pretty well, considering how badly Hurt Feelings has broken us. Because I think by this point, you've also lost the drive shaft out of one of your N20s.
I think so, but I could figure out if I had that come forwards or backwards would change just enough momentum to keep me going straight.
Yeah.
I was using that to re-angle myself every now and again, but
You're getting a good
get
crab
the
walk
control
going.
on dropping.
That's a legitimate crab walking strategy.
Yeah, first one I had to try it and I was like, this actually can work.
Damage wheels.
It's so hard to drive without a bloody scoop.
Yeah, so we're all having lots of drive issues here because Choppy is not designed to drive without the big scoop on the front.
I was hoping he would go further back, but he didn't.
Yeah, and then, yeah, you got stuck over the pit, and you've only got one drive side, so...
Yeah, I was trying to stay as much as I could, but
Yeah.
I guess I had to reverse into it.
And unfortunately, that's the match, which is very unfortunate because, yeah, Cam, you were out just for a switch turn off, right?
I think that was it, yeah.
Yeah, the force of the impact between you and Hurt Feelings was somehow able to turn the switch off.
I mean, they are just slide switches because, like, again, they're literally running ant weight components in them, like 150 gram robot components. So that is yet another thing I need to fix in Cacophony is the switch system because, yeah, they get hit really hard. They get thrown a long, long way. So apparently that's enough to turn off a slide switch.
Was not expecting that. I saw Cam dead. I'm like, what happened? And then he's like, click, Still works. I'm like, how?
It's actually happened to me twice in the ant weight scale, so I sort of knew what would happen.
Yeah. I mean, I have had it happen in the ant weight scale, but with smaller switches than the ones I used in Cacophony. So I was like, oh, surely those are going to have like better grip in them and like more friction and stuff. They'll be fine, right? Apparently not.
I might just be unlucky.
Very possibly.
Curse of the Switch.
Maybe. I mean, I have a kind of rudimentary design for a screw switch, like a custom screw switch to go into the new versions of Cacophony. So we might be doing Cacophony again in December. It depends on how quickly I can pull all these design elements together. Obviously, as we've talked about today, there's going to be a lot of design changes. Is it worth doing something silly if you're not going to over-engineer the absolute hell out of it?
Well, you did that with the whistles. You turned something that didn't squeak into probably the most sensitive squeaky thing I've held.
That is true. I was very happy with how the whistles sounded in there. You could hear them every single time, even from outside the box. Like the camera that we were running all of this footage from was outside the box. You can hear that in all the footage. Ah, so good. But also, yes, Chris is very serious about them being hypersensitive. I had them in a grocery bag, like the three of them just in a grocery bag. If I put the grocery bag down on a table, you got 3 squeaks. As the robots just resettled in the bag, you got 3 squeaks out of it.
Because you won't always have that full arm, which you were trying to figure out how to do. And you figured out the engineering and the airflow design, and it squeaked beautifully.
Yeah, so I'm actually thinking that's the other thing that I've got a lot to do on Squeakamus and Cacophony for the next version, but one of the things I really, really want to do again is to custom design the bellows, because having to buy the squeaky hammers to put the bellows on means I've got just a ton of squeaky hammer handles in my house that I'm never going to do anything with. They might get turned into like thwack bots at some point or something, but I don't know. And certainly not in the quantities that I need to keep Cacophony running, so we need to do something new. But yes, so that is going to be the end of this fight report. We came 4th for the event, which, like, I
Go into it with no idea, come out 4th place.
Yeah, I blown away by that. I was expecting to be, bottom of the pile on this one. So
I get to try all different variants, from chunky pushes to a chopping board to an undercutter to a horizontal spinner, which whooped our ass.
That he did. All right. Well, I think this is going to be the end of the video. Is there anything else you guys want to add in here right at the very end? You are both more than welcome back for Cacophony version 2. As mentioned, that may happen in December. If not, it will be the first beta weight event in the new year, because I really, really love this design right now. So I want to keep going and build something new. Anything else you guys want to add in here?
I look forward to the revenge of the squeak. We will get those big boys eventually.
I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what changes are in store.
Cool. All right, thank you very much, guys, for being here, and thank you out there for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.